Honor guards to attention. At this time, firefighter David Cristiano will sound 4 sets of 5 bells as the last call.
Present arms.
Will everyone please join me in a moment of silence? At this time, the firefighter's prayer will be read.
When I am called to duty, God, wherever flames may rage, give me strength to save a life, whatever be its age. Help me embrace a little child before it is too late, or save an older person from the horror of that fate. Enable me to be alert and hear the weakest shout, quickly and efficiently to put the fire out. I want to fill my calling, to give the best in me, to guide my friend and neighbor and protect his property. And if according to your will, I must answer death's call, bless with your protecting hand my family, one and all.
Thank you, Deputy. At this time, the police officer's prayer will be read.
Lord, I ask for courage, courage to face and conquer my own fears, courage to take me where others will not go. I ask for strength, strength of body to protect others, and strength of spirit to lead others. I ask for dedication, dedication to do my job, to do it well, dedication to my community, to keep it safe. Give me, Lord, concern for others who trust me and compassion for those who need me. And please, Lord, through it all, be by my side.
Thank you, Chief. At this time, Nancy Cook will read the poem, One by Cheryl Sawyer, in memory of all those who have perished 17 years ago this day.
As the soot and dirt and ash rained down, we became one color. As we carried each other down the stairs of the burning building, we became one class. As we lit candles of waiting and hope, we became one generation. As the firefighters and police officers fought their way into the inferno, we became one gender. As we fell to our knees in prayer for strength, we became one faith. As we whispered or shouted words of encouragement, we spoke one language. As we gave our blood in lines a mile long, we became one body. As we mourned together the great loss, we became one family. As we cried tears of grief and loss, we became one soul. As we retell with pride of the sacrifice of the heroes, we became one people. We are one class, one color, one generation, one gender, one faith, one language, one body, one family, one soul, one people. We are the power of one. We are the United States of America.
At this time, I would like to introduce State Representative Jim Arciero with some parting words.
Today marks the 17th anniversary of that fateful day in 2001, when events in New York City, Arlington, Virginia, and Shanksville, Pennsylvania would change the United States of America forever. That dark day when nearly 3,000 Americans would perish in unthinkable ways. When buildings we thought would last for decades would fall in hours. When the center of the military might, the Pentagon, would be struck. And when everyday passengers on an airplane would become American heroes by sacrificing themselves to protect the lives of others. That day would ultimately lead to war in the Middle East, where thousands of brave American men and women would answer their nation's call to service. September 11th, 2001 also hit us here at home in Westford, when we would lose two of our very own citizens that day, Susan McKay and James Hayden, who were on Flight 11 and Flight 175 that crashed into the World Trade Center. We honor those courageous men and women who put themselves in harm's way, and those who sacrificed their own lives to help people that they never knew. The first responders, the police, and the firefighters. Those brave men and women who led our efforts following these tragic events. Followed by our uniformed brothers and sisters who took up arms against the perpetrators. September 11th, 2001 is a dark day in the history of our nation that should never be forgotten. 17 years may seem like a long time for those families of the victims left behind. Their loss and their pain have not receded. Never could they have thought on that particular September morning they would be seeing their father or mother, sister or brother, son or daughter for the very last time. Never be given a chance to say a final goodbye or a final embrace. It is our responsibility as Americans to be mindful that no words of condolence or acts of remembrance can ever fully heal or erase the pain of their loss. Here in Westford and across our great nation, we will never forget the lives lost on that fateful day. May God bless you and your families, all those precious souls lost of September 11, 2001, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
At this time, I would like to introduce the Board of Selectmen Chair, Andrea Perna Sweet.
"17 years ago, our country suffered one of its most devastating, horrific, and tragic attacks in its history. It's a day that those of us of a certain age will always remember where we were when we learned about the attack. We gather here this morning to remember the almost 3,000 lives that were lost, including two of our own residents, Susan McKay and James Hayden, and to honor the first responders who so courageously and selflessly responded that day, who put themselves in harm's way with no thought of their own safety to save people who they did not know. In celebration of these men and women, in 2011, on the 10th anniversary of 9/11, Alan Jankowski wrote the following poem, "We Shall Never Forget." Let the world always remember that fateful day in September, and the ones who answered duty's call should be remembered by us all, who left the comfort of their home to face perils as yet unknown, an embodiment of goodness on a day when men's hearts had gone astray. Sons and daughters like me and you, who never questioned what they had to do, who by example were a source of hope and strength to others who could not cope. Heroes that would not turn their back, with determination that would not crack, who bound together in their ranks and asking not a word of thanks. Men who bravely gave their lives, whose orphaned kids and widowed wives can proudly look back on their dad, who gave this country all they had. And actions taken without regret, heroisms we shall never forget. The ones who paid the ultimate price, let's never forget their sacrifice. And never forget the ones no longer here, who fought for freedoms we all hold dear. And may their memory never wane, lest their sacrifices be in vain. We gather here this morning in sorrow and in remembrance, but we also gather to honor the heroes of that day. We gather to demonstrate that out of destruction, despair, and ruin came resolve, resilience, and hope. We gather here today to show that freedom, liberty, and justice cannot be snuffed out. We gather as a reminder and as a lesson to a generation since born whose only knowledge of 9/11 will come from what is passed on down to them, from the stories we tell, from memorials such as this one here that stands as a tribute to that day. We gather here so that we do not forget. And we gather with a resolve that, as Abraham Lincoln so eloquently expressed 155 years ago at Gettysburg, that from these honored dead, we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave their last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain. To all of those who serve, to our public safety officers, to our first responders, we gather here to honor and pay tribute to you. We gather here today. Thank you.
Once again, firefighter Cristiano will sound 4 sets of 5 bells as a last call.
Reset. Off.
This completes the morning service. Thank you all for attending. All public safety personnel may return to service.